What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. So this is my first time doing a video like this. I'm using the OBS Studio video capture thingy on computer. So anyway, today I'm going to be talking about performance parts for the third generation Accord, more specifically for the fuel injected models like LXI and all that stuff. So yeah, let's begin. I'm going to try to make this short as possible because a lot of this stuff can be in depth in a video in and itself. So starting with air induction. So intakes. All I'm going to say on intakes. I personally wouldn't spend any more than $30 on an intake. Now the intakes that fit our cars. So I actually have, if my memory serves me correct, a 1993 DA Integra cold air intake on my Accord. Now before I cut it down to a short ram, well, not really short ram, just how I cut it to where it goes in that custom air box that I made. So pretty much the actual cold air that goes in that hole in the passenger side where your battery sits, everything will actually fit in there perfectly as long as you relocate your battery. The only problem I had with is the obvious problems you always have with cold air intakes is just always running into it getting hit with water or mud or dirt or whatnot, and plus me not having a splash shield because it got ripped out during an accident that the car was involved in before I purchased the car. So I pretty much scrapped that idea. I cut the piping to where the filter was inside the bay itself just so it wouldn't get wet and whatnot. So there's that. So 1993 DA intake, intakes will work. Civics like EG and EK. Actually, pretty much, yeah. All short ram intakes for all those well-known Honda models should work. There's no reason why it shouldn't. As I said, you more likely are gonna have to run a short ram just because of if you have the battery in the stock location, you have no choice. I mean, if you want to run it in the side of it, you guys can try, but as I said, just for food for thought, if you want a cold air intake, 1993 Integra will bolt on and fit. It would be a little bit of a headache to make it work, but it will work. Okay, moving on. Oh, sorry, one more thing. The only thing on those eBay cheapo intake manifolds I will recommend you do is just replace the air filter. Replace it with like a K&N air filter, just like the only weakest spot of the whole thing. Other than that, they're all pretty much the same, guys, in my personal opinion. And unless you're OBD1 and being able to tune, you're not going to get real much gains out of it anyway. So the intake manifolds. My very first video on this channel, I've already talked about how I did modified a B16 intake manifold to adapt on the A20. So B16s and B18 non-VTEC intake manifolds will fit on our A20s with modification, as well as the Type Rs. The GSRs, I don't know anybody who ever modified it to make it fit. However, I wouldn't want to deal with the dual butterflies that it has. So there's that. The B20s is going to be, if you guys have the B20As, not the CRV B20s, the B20As that came out in the Preludes and stuff for Europe and Japan and whatnot. Same process to adapting a B16 and B18 intake manifold onto that. ITBs, individual throttle bodies, same thing. Oh, I just noticed that light. Sorry about that. The individual throttle bodies should, with the same amount of modification, should bolt on to the A20 as well. If you guys get lucky and find like a Kinsler or a OBX, if you guys want to try running an OBX, go for it. I don't know. I've never seen a A20 A3 run on individual throttle bodies. I'm sure there's gonna be like some talks and pros and cons on running ITBs on it, but hey, be cool, especially if it's a show car. Nothing to hate there. Sorry about that light. I'm gonna fix that real quick. That glare. Exhaust headers. Pace setter no longer makes headers for our vehicle anymore. DC Sports no longer makes it. S&S is pretty much the same thing as the OBX. It was a 401 design. The DC Sports, as well as the Pace setter, was a 421 design. OBX is the only manufacturer that still has them for sale. To my knowledge, even on their website. I could be wrong on that though. So I don't recommend these, even though it's the only option we got right now. But if you guys want to get them, try to see if you can modify them to make them better. More power to you. All right, sorry about that, guys. You guys can also use the flange as well to make use it as make another fully custom header or make a turbo manifold out of it if you want. So not really losing anything there if you want to go this route. Okay, let's see here. Exhaust flange. I don't know anything about that even back in the day. Catalytic converter. You might get lucky and find a MagnaFlow catalytic converter for our vehicles. Because if you're in a really, what's the word? Smog controlled state like California, then this is definitely going to be a must for you guys. Other than that, you might have to just stick with your OEM catalytic converter unless it's seen its last of days. Catback exhaust. Monza, I don't believe they're even around anymore. I made a fully custom exhaust manifold exhaust system for my hatchback back in the day. I ran 2¼ inch pipe, bought piping from Summit Racing. You guys can source it out from there or places like Jegs and whatnot and just make it from there. On a naturally aspirated setup, I would go up as high as 2.5. That's just my reason. You said do your own research and the reason why on that. 2¼ is the route I went to, and you'll definitely notice some difference there. So there is that. From what I've heard, though, from a member, you guys can use the CB7 4th generation Accord 90 to 93 aftermarket catback exhaust systems, and they will bolt on our cars with some slight modifications. Don't quote me on that, but that's just what I've heard. Headers for JDM B20A. Again, not the CRV B20. H22 headers and supposedly 1994 Eclipse. DOHC non-turbo fit with a couple mods. I've never heard of a member ever attempting or doing that with success. So if you guys want to try that, go for it. Engine. So I'm going to try to be as brief as possible in all these. I'm probably going to fail at that because a lot of these can be talked about in one video in and itself. Camshaft. Delta is the one company I highly recommend out of all of these. Colt cams, I don't know if they're still around. I'm sure they are. Crower, I don't know if they even make camshafts for us anymore. Good Performance is not around anymore. Crane Crams. I can't talk about anybody else. Delta, sorry about that. So as I was saying, Delta is the only company I would go through. So Bishimoto, BCmoto, I was thinking about Mishimoto. BCmoto, actually, if you guys contact him or contact the company, they might hook you up with any part that they made A-Series. I actually know of a member recently that actually just got a A-Series intake manifold gasket from them by emailing them. So...
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you please repeat what you said?
No, I'm not, Siri. Stop listening to me. Sorry about that. So yeah, if you guys might get lucky, hit him up. He might hook you guys up with whatever you need in regards to like cams, cam gears, intake manifold gaskets, valve springs, and I think that's about it. I'll talk about all those later on. So Delta, they're under new ownership, which doesn't change anything. They still have all the, to my knowledge, they still have all like the order details from previous owners, and there's been a lot of owners, 3G's owners, who've actually ordered Delta camshafts. I have one personally. I have a 272 grind camshaft. So just hit them up, email them, get a hold of them, tell them what you want. They might have an extra A20 camshaft in stock. If not, you're going to have to send it to them and get it reground, and then they're going to send it back. And I've had zero problems with these guys. Super nice. They even sent me a free t-shirt when I ordered from them. So yeah, highly recommend these guys. If you guys want to go Bishimoto, you guys will be paying a lot more than these guys. I can't tell you exactly how much more, but definitely about $100 more for almost the same thing. And let's see here, valve springs. Bishimoto is the only manufacturer and only dude that sells them. I have a set of valve springs actually that I have not put in yet, and if you get a hold of them, you might get lucky and score some yourself. Adjustable cam gear, Bishimoto as well, and I've also scored one if you guys have seen before in my previous videos. It also makes them, and you might be able to get them from him again. Golden Eagle did make an adjustable cam gear for cars as well, but they no longer make them anymore. But you might get lucky and find them used. In regards to the cam gear, from what I've heard, this company, Evolution Industries, Bishimoto actually sourced out or had them make the cams for the A20. It's weird. I don't really understand what the deal was on a business aspect and how that turned out. But if you contact these guys, they might be able to make you one or have one in stock for the A20. See, head studs, ARP head studs from a 98 to 2000 Mazda Miata. There's the part number. So I'm pretty sure that's the NB chassis Miata, the non-pop-up headlights. Main bearings. So I'm pretty sure these guys still have them. I can't talk about Toga. I've never heard of them before, but I don't see why you guys couldn't get race bearings from, or sorry, just engine bearings or rod bearings from these manufacturers, ACL, King Bearings. Highly reputable companies, still in existence today. Rubber kit, I already talked about all this stuff. Adjustable fuel pressure regulator. They pretty much are kind of like all the same. But I said it'd be a lot easier if you just did the B16 or B18 intake manifold swap, or mod, and then install on the A20, because then you can run all your intake, all your B series intake manifold accessories on it. Fuel rail, fuel pressure regulator, the throttle bodies, all that stuff. So that swapping the manifolds alone will be able to give you a lot more options in regards to that. Fuel pump. So again, if you guys are going to be doing a performance build, Walbro 255, a pretty common fuel pump. I mean, get the fuel pump to your specifications on your build. And obviously you're going to need more than a 255 if you're going to be running a high boost, which I don't know any member who has yet. Let's see here. So Walbro is just one of many companies you guys can go through for your fuel pumps, whether it be in tank or external. Copper head gasket, Cometic gaskets. So Cometic gaskets actually makes head gaskets for a vehicle for the A20. It's not listed on their website. You're going to have to contact them, email them to be able to get them sent to you. Felpro also makes head gaskets. You can find, pretty much OEM stuff you'll be able to find no problem these days. And I've known members who've actually ran turbo setups on Felpro with zero problems. Okay, fuel rail, already discussed that. Connecting rods. So I'm not going to get into this in detail. Look it up on the 3Gs forum. So LS, B18, non-VTEC LS rods will work in the A20 block along with the B20 CRV B20 83 millimeter pistons. So this means you're going to have to bore out the A20 block to 83 millimeters to accommodate that piston. I'm not going to get into detail on that. Maybe not, maybe later on in the future, but you guys can find out all the information you need to know on the forum itself. Okay, pistons for JDM B20A, B16 pistons fit with mods. Okay, I don't know any member that's done that personally, but I'm not doubting that information. Electrical, OBD1 harness. So CGS wiring, here it is. So he's actually a member on the 3Gs page. Really cool dude. I've never done business with him myself, but I'm here. I've heard really good stuff about him. He doesn't have anything listed for our vehicle on his site, but I'm sure if you need anything wiring, you guys can definitely get it through him, and he's highly recommended. There's even a member, if you guys see this S2000 cluster, there's a member on 3Gs who actually has an S2000 cluster in his Accord, and he actually got the whole harness stuff from CGS wiring. So keep that in mind if you guys ever want to do something cool like that. So OBD1 distributor adapter plate. If you guys have watched my OBD0 to OBD1 video, you'll see the adapter plate that needs to be made. You guys can make it yourself or source it out from other members. OBD1 jumper harness. So Boomslang Industries. It's the plug and play harness. This goes to your Accord engine harness to your new OBD1 chipped, preferably chipped ECU. Pretty simple. I'm not going to get into OBD1 stuff. I have a whole video on it. Okay, spark plug wires. NGK is pretty much just OEM replacement. That's the only company I always go through for replacements. Nology, they are thicker spark plug wires, but be prepared to spend the most amount of money you have ever spent on spark plug wires. It'd be a lot cheaper if you just made them. Or go coil on plug, which is possible if you're OBD1, and I believe if you're also running Hondata as a tuning platform. Don't quote me on that. I don't know too much on coil on plug setups, but there is at least 2 members that I know of that are on coil on plug setups or COP. Other OBD1 jumper harness. Okay. Drivetrain. Clutch net, to my knowledge, no longer makes lightweight flywheels. You guys can contact them. You might get lucky. But I actually found a website, Vivid Racing, that carries an ASCO, if I'm pronouncing that right, billet aluminum flywheel. So, yeah, there's an option on that. I might do that. I don't know if I want to yet. They also have rebuild kits. I don't know the quality on these rebuild kits. Clutch master kits. Different ratings. So that's cool that we have performance clutch kits available for our vehicles. and this Rauco RZ. I've never heard of this company, so proceed with caution. Another company, ACT. I actually have an ACT clutch kit in my Accord hatch. I have had zero problems running them. I believe it was like sprung 4 pad. No, I don't remember what I had, but it wasn't anything too crazy. I want to say like maybe stage 2. If that was even what it was called. Definitely a noticeable feel in a stiffer clutch with these guys, so keep that in mind. Xcity still makes OEM replacement clutches and pressure plates for vehicles as well. Let's see, short throw shifter. I mentioned him before. Cheetah Auto. He's the only manufacturer and the only guy that makes them. Right here, I have one in my Accord. I absolutely love it. And he also makes a bunch of other really cool aftermarket stuff for the A20. So check out his site, Cheetah Auto. Okay. Shifter stabilizer bushing kit. So there's your part number from Energy Suspensions. Limited slip LSD. So the weakest point of the entire A20 platform, to my knowledge, is the transmission. Whether you have Integra gears, Prelude gears, whatnot, the differential, you will snap diff pins all day, even on stock power, depending on how you drive it, and with slight modifications. So B16 LSDs fit. There's a whole write-up on it, and all I'm going to say is from WaveTrack themselves, this is the part number. They said from WaveTrack themselves that would fit in our transmission case. Turbo manifold, Muscle Man, they no longer make them. It was actually a group buy when they first did them. There was a member who actually previously emailed them and was able to get one sent from Europe to him, and that was about, I want to say, a year or two ago. And it might be the same deal if you contact them, or they might not do it unless we get another group build, a group buy, which would be really hard to do these days, honestly. Just talking because it was pretty hard to get a group buy back in the first time around. Turbo kit, build it yourself. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. Motor mounts. If you guys want to do any engine swap, B series cable specifically is the only easiest way to go. Shut up, Siri. Yeah, there's no other aftermarket manufacturer that makes swapped mounts for any other engine. H series, F series, J series, K series, none of that. B series. And Siri and the government's listening to me again. So yeah, there you guys go. So yeah, down here, note, some parts not may appear on the website. If you contact them, they should have it. So there you go. This updated was in 2015. It's 2020 now. So there's a lot of these on this list still kind of holds true. So there you go, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments below. I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.